Hi everybody, welcome. Carlo Mombelli here from Johannesburg, South Africa, sitting in my little space here at my house. And in today's little video, I want to explain my use of something that I've used in a lot of my compositions to glue my compositions and hold them together. It's pedal points, also known as Ostinato. And I really believe in, well, first of all, these videos, of course, is how I've gone about doing things. All right, other people have done other things differently, but this is all about how I go about it, how I see the compositions. And I believe that there has to be some sort of a glue that holds a composition together, whether it's silence. You must remember that our canvas is silence. Our blank canvas is silence. It could be a right cymbal that holds it together, the whole thing. It could be some loop that you've set up or some special bass line that holds it together. Or it could be open strings and ostinato. And I've used that so often, and it's really been important in holding the glue. It's been the glue to a lot of my compositions. I started off my first composition that I used kind of that open string sound is in a composition called Zambezi, which I did in my first tutorial about creating the visual to the sound, to the composition, how to create the visual. And I love the sound of dissonance. It's a little bit mysterious, and it can be used in such a beautiful way, not to be weird, but to be beautiful. And on Zambezi, I use the open D. There's the open D ringing. And I put a C sharp. And then I use the open G. And I put A flat. So it goes up. So the whole bass line was this. And then an open A where I have a hammer on. Okay? I mean that. So that's when I used it, and then later on I composed another piece called The Silence of a Storm. You know, when the piece was about, in Johannesburg we have the most incredible thunderstorms. I'm talking about a thunderstorm with lightning and the sound. It's so loud and so massive. And I stand on my balcony when there's this thunderstorm happening. But at the same time that there's this thunderstorm happening, everything becomes silent, because all you hear is that. So I wrote a piece called the silence in a storm, and it's on one of my albums called Dancing in a Museum. Man, I love that album because there's also some really beautiful musicians on there. I've got Bill Elgod, the drummer. He's an incredible colorist. And Charlie Mariano, the saxophone player, his sound, they say, his sound is so he plays alto sax, but it's so gentle and so beautiful and warm, the sound. And then I've got the incredible guitarist, Mick Goodrick. He's a legend because he taught so many great musicians. I mean, he taught Lionel Lueke, Pat Metheny, Wolfgang Mitzspiel, Julian Lager, the list goes on. And I was very fortunate to tour with him and to have him on this recording. What I've done is I set up this piece. I set up this ostinato line using those semitones that I used there. So I'm using a D, ostinato, and an E flat. Space. And then the band's improvising on this. This is all that's happening. And they're playing. play anything they want on this. And then at some point, I give the cue. There's another, an F sharp and a G. I'll tell you a little story. So I was at a workshop, like, I think I was about 20 years old or something, or 21, early 20s anyway. Can't remember the year. It was quite a well-known musician, so I'm not going to mention any names. And the person is such a beautiful person. This was just like a little mishap. He was giving the workshop. I went to the concert. I went to quite a number of the concerts because I was so excited to see this musician. And I noticed that every time the horn player took a solo, the band was doing other stuff. He would get off the keyboard and he'd be playing cowbell, and the band was jamming behind the saxophone player. But when they played their head all in unison, he was exactly at the piano. They knew when the head was going to start. I didn't understand how on earth they did that. So I asked a question at the workshop. I said, "Excuse me, sir, who gives the cue? How do you know when to play the head? Is it a fixed amount of bars? Because I can't make that out. Does he give the cue? The saxophone player, did he give the cue? Or is there a silent cue that the audience doesn't understand?" And he said to me, the audience is in front of the saxophone player, the band is behind the saxophone player, and when he's finished his solo, a little red thing pops out the back of his head, boom, and says, "I'm finished." Now, that was such a weird answer. It was pretty funny. I also laughed. And then he took the next question, and that was the mistake. Didn't answer the question, actually. So in the meantime, I've learned how to do that. I've learned about giving silent cues. What's the nice thing about a silent cue is that it's a mystery to the audience. The audience, suddenly it's like, wow, like I felt, like, wow, they move on to the next section. How did they do it? How did it happen? Meantime, there's these little cues that are happening in the band. So my little cue to the band was, hey, we were playing jamming. And that sounds part of the improvisation, because they all playing that and I'm playing. That sounds part of the sound. But they all hear it, that I've deviated from this groove to this. And then when I play that, there's 3 bars. 1, 2, ba-ba-dee-da. Then we all play in unison, and it's like, wow, it just came out of nowhere. So that's just, I just got sidetracked there. But that's just a little something. Those little things make your performance quite special. Make the composition an element of surprise. And you're telling stories. When you can, if you have to read a book, and you can predict all the time what's coming on the next page, and you can predict it, and you can predict it, and you can predict it suddenly becomes a bit boring. So you add these elements of surprise that the audience can't really predict what's coming in a way. Sometimes that's really beautiful to add in the composition. Now, there's another composition called Volcanic Eruptions in Slow Motion, which I did in the video just before this, the one that came out of me smashing my yogurt on the floor. And there I've got the D ostinato. So I'm using the D ostinato with the major 7s on the outside, and it creates this. There's the D ostinato. this is the ostinato there is the glue that's holding that whole thing together. Then I recorded an album called Theory with my South African project, Marcus Wyatt, Sia Makuzeni, and Justin Bardenost. Sia Makuzeni on voice, Justin Bardenost on drums. And the opening track is called Theory. It's quite a powerful track, and it starts in this 5/4 groove. We improvise, and then I'm going to go through all the ostinatos that I use in this piece. I'll take it slowly first. First ostinato, there it is there. Then it changes. Okay, so it's So there, that's not an easy bass line to play actually, and to get it smooth, that there's this legato happening, that there's this glue, because otherwise if I don't use the ostinato, it's going to be, because there's a lot of jumps. My hand leaves the strings at some stage to jump from there to there, etc. But so there would be these like hiccups in the way. There's the silencer, but because I've got the ostinato, it's just holding, it's this thread that's just holding it and making it smooth. I got another piece. I've got so many, and they've all got this D string. I recorded on my last album called Lullaby of Planet Earth. Also beautiful. I've been really fortunate to play with such beautiful musicians, and this album is my favorite drummer in the world, Jorge Rossi from Spain, an incredible guitarist, Wolfgang Muthspiel. Just amazing musicians, and so I recorded a piece called Daniel, which is dedicated to my friend Daniel Passotti, and he's a great cellist from Zurich, Switzerland. And I'm using the D string again. I start with the D string, but this time I'm setting up a rhythmic groove for the D string. Remember that these are the note choices, your tone, your vibrato of the note. This hand is the rhythmic concept. Of course, you get your tone out of this hand as well. It's how you touch your string, but this is the rhythmic concept, and the rhythm comes out. So if I had to play this. With two fingers, doesn't sound right. Even with doing it like this, doesn't sound right. I need 3 fingers. So there I am playing this ostinato, and on this ostinato, I can start improvising. And if I'm going to improvise, just on one string, because I'm going to use this whole string, one string here, because this ostinato groove needs to begin. take it a little bit, give it a bit of an edge. Whole time. So I can be improvising. And I try to get that ostinato going the whole time. And when I'm ready, I bring the band in. And I like to bring the band in just with the breath. There's the ostinato going. Let me stop there because now I'm going to go to the G as an ostinato. There it is. There's the G still going. And then again. D ostinato. Now the next chord is an F sharp, like minor or something. I just using the outer strings to play the chord, but the ostinato is still there. Again. And the end of the composition, I play two open strings, the D and the G, just to give this rich, warm sound. The open strings have a warm sound to it. You know, and there's another composition on that Theory album. You have to hear it. I wrote this piece for my half sister Angela, who's up somewhere in the rainbows as well, and I just called it Angela's Angels, and I wrote this piece for her, using the D as an ostinato, and I loop this, so I create this glue with a loop. That's the loop. And the melody. I'm going to put the track on. You have to hear it. There's one stage I just bend the note, just to create a little. You can create those energies by bending strings and just playing that. Those little notes outside, just to create like an injection of emotion into the melody. well, I'm using the G as my ostinato. The piece called "It Hurts When I Laugh, It Tickles When I Cry," also from my last album, Lullaby for Planet Earth, and we certainly need that lullaby, I tell you. So I'm playing. This is the groove is where I change the. So the groove is we got these dancers in South Africa where they hit to dum dum day, go dum day. And I had that feeling, and I saw what it is. It's actually, it's a 5/4, but it's not really. It's a 2/4 and a 3. You know, usually when everyone plays a 5/4, diggy diggy bop bop, and I've put the bop bop first, bop 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 bop, to create this and that's how when I play this, I'm not even counting it. I just feel that dance. Okay, so it's oh wait, here it is. Sorry. Of course, I'm using my hands to create rhythmic actions. And what you're gonna hear that this G is the ostinato. It's the glue. Look at that chord. There I've got again. What have I got? An F sharp and a G. So So when I feel it as a dance and I've got the ostinato as my glue, then I don't even have to count or think about anything. I can sing on top of it. It just makes everything more of a sound, a phrase, and that is my use of ostinato in my compositions and how I go about binding my work together. So I hope you've learned something. I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I go about approaching my music and my compositions. And like I said, this planet needs a lot of love. So peace and love on the planet. Hey Luigi, hey my boy, how are you? This is Luigi. This is the dog that you sometimes hear in my videos. I'd just like to end off this little session, and I hope you enjoyed it. I just want to show you basically my book, that all the stuff that I show you, my compositions, are found in a book. I put them all in a book called Pulses in the Center of Silence, and with beautiful scores of the full lead sheets, full scores, and solo bass pieces. And I've put together a little bit of my approach on how I see music, things that are important to me. So I've got 5 chapters that I've written up front. The first chapter, the elements, which I feel are tone, time, taste, ears, and technique. And I speak about each of the elements. And then chapter 2, the 4 P's, passion, practice, perseverance, and passion, the journey to the elements. Chapter 3, composition and improvisation, my approach. I write about it, how I feel about it. And then originality, chapter 4. I really feel everyone is an original. And I'll give you an insight to how I feel about that. And then chapter 5, learning and teaching. I mean, can creativity be taught, etc. And so there's quite a. I hope it's going to be an inspirational bit of writing for you. And then you have all the compositions, and this you can get from real African publishers, Johannesburg-based publishing company, and see below for the link and the website for that. Until next time, peace and love, everyone.